Tracy's going to have a lot of anxiety down the line.
That older sister burden.
She's going to have a lot to unpack.
Hello, guys. Welcome back to another episode of your favorite American Girl podcast, American Girl Talk. It is me, once again, your beloved host, Caroline, and I am here with Paige. Guys, meet Paige.
Hey, it's me. I'm Paige. What's up?
Paige.
What's going on?
Paige is one of my friends from college, and she is graciously helping us with this new era of American Girl Talk. And I think I said it on the last episode, but I'll just reiterate it for anyone who's tuning in. Basically, what I'm doing is I'm having 6 friends hopefully come, and each person will take one of the books. So someone will take the meat book every time, and someone will take the second book in a series, which kind of learns a lesson, and we'll go through that. So that person will have kind of perspective on every girl and one book from that. So Paige is going to help us with hopefully the second book in the next few books series. So Paige, just before we get into it, really, let's talk a little about you. Like I said, meet Paige. Who is Paige? What is her relation to American girls?
Yeah. So, hey, I'm Paige. I am just a grown-up American girl myself. Tried and true child of the 90s. So this was my thing. I was real into American Girl. My first doll was Samantha Parkington.
Nice.
And yeah, so I think that says a lot about me, who I was and who I've become. So yeah, dealing with a lot of internal conflict. But no, I love it. American Girl has always been there. It's my thing. I remember circling in the magazines each Christmas time with little trinkets I wanted. But also in true Samantha Parkington form, I was a real type A kid. I guess this is more Grand Marie, but that's beside the point.
You more of a Grand Marie or a Samantha.
But all of my American Girl toys are still pristine in the box. I'm these are going to be something special one day, and I need to hold on to this for my future children.
I can't relate to that as someone whose kit is somewhere at the bottom of a toy box. So did you not play with them, or did you just keep them organized?
Oh, I played. I was good with that. But everything went back in its little pocket in the box. Molly still has her original braids in.
That's crazy, Paige.
It's a little sick. Looking back on it, it's a little just not healthy. Not
so
normal.
You had Samantha and Molly?
I had Samantha and Molly, and then I remember the day that my sister was born. I'd gotten one of the American Girls of today.
Okay.
And that was the big gift. And I was really clever, and I named her Elizabeth Paige because she looked just like me. But we were a little different.
So you had a looks like me doll?
I did.
Okay, I got one too, but I kind of this sounds so annoying to say, but I got one kind of as an afterthought where it was oh, I want one of these, and I think there was something where it was these aren't as. It was right after they were the thing to get, so they weren't as exciting. But I remember we had to send in my eye color and my hair color, and that I had curly hair, and I had this weird flat hair, and then the bottom part was really curly.
Yeah.
And then she had hazel eyes, which I have greenish brownish eyes, but they looked like dinosaur eyes. They looked like the Jurassic Park dinosaur eye.
A little too much.
Yeah, I remember just staring at those eyes and the looks like me doll.
Seeing through your soul and your matching sweaters.
Well, I wanted one because my friend, growing up, I had a very close guy friend, and his sister had gotten one, so his mom had gotten him a boy looks like me doll, and it looked exactly like him. And the funny thing was, even though it was doll sized, one time he was staying over at our house, and I guess he left it in the foyer, and my mom came downstairs and saw this little blonde mop top and thought my friend was passed out on the ground. I was oh my god.
What's happened?
And she's obviously it was 3-4 times smaller than him. She goes, but my immediate reaction was, oh my god, I have to call his mom. He's just lying in the
eyes closed though, those realistic eyes.
I know, the little closed back eyes. All right. So was Samantha your favorite girl then?
She was my
books
favorite.
Wise?
Yeah, okay. Books wise. She's the one that I truly read through. And I was oh yeah, this is class. This is living. Little Victorian lifestyle. Yes, yes, yes.
I know, it's nice. And well, on that same note then, Paige, I also like to ask people what your favorite what historic tragedy like did you really lock in on as a kid? What were you like, I'm gonna learn everything I can about this horrific event?
I know. So I didn't like glob onto a singular event, but I was a real Little House on the Prairie kid. So I read through all of the books with my mom. That was like our nighttime read. Must have been for years. And I got real into it. I was like, Laura Ingalls, what a trooper she is, a trendsetter, a true pioneer woman. And I was all about like, the maple candy and the snow. And there was a Halloween that I had made my sister and I dress up like Laura Ingalls and Carrie. So I think we
Nice.
truly went out to like Amish country and got these dresses
These
handmade with a little
pioneer
apron.
dresses.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. And this beautiful like floral fabric with the little bonnet and everything. I'm like, oh yeah.
So did you not like Kirsten?
Weirdly, no. Weirdly, I wasn't a
These
Kirsten girl.
American Girl's answer to Laura Ingalls Wilder.
I think just because I just didn't have her.
Yeah.
Almost my girls were chosen for me.
You didn't like the hair loopies.
The hair loop, you know what? They just didn't do it for me. Now I love a hair loopy.
I know. You're my friend who's my secret hairstylist when we're together.
I love a milkmaid braid.
We do. We love a braid. We love a peasant look, a peasant fit.
Exactly. I mean, I'm in my little bandana right now.
I
I love
know.
a
I
moment.
like it. You look very cute.
Thank-
Well, we are getting into Julie today. And Paige, do you have any relation to Julie? Because I did not.
no, I think, when did she come out? Was she like 2012?
2007.
Oh.
It was
So I
like,
was a little off.
well, it was right after, like, I would say, I think Kaya came out in 2004. So it was like, Kaya's the last one that I feel like any of us would have had any like interest in because we were around like 10 when Kaya came out. And so we were at like
Right.
the end of American Girls. And so Julie coming out when we are like 13, like, it doesn't surprise me. I remember like vaguely hearing of her, but I was done with
Exactly.
the dolls at that point.
No, me too. I think we must have been like 7th grade around then. And I
Yeah.
remember I still got the magazines. And I was like, oh,
Mm-hmm.
wow, new doll just dropped. Check her out.
A
And I do
70s doll?
remember, yeah, I remember my sister had her bed. She didn't have the doll, but she had the bed with all the beading and the blankets. But
Oh.
yeah, yeah. But that's as much as I relate to Julie. She was new for me.
Yeah. What'd you think?
She's something.
Oh. Should we get into it?
Let's get into it.
All right, guys. So we are covering Julie Tells Her Story, which is actually essentially just Julie Learns a Lesson. I was doing a little bit of research because all the original books besides Kaya do the like traditional format, of like meet Samantha learns a lesson, happy like Merry Christmas, Samantha, or Samantha Surprise. And so I was like, oh, I guess the Julie books and beyond don't follow that pattern. But apparently they changed the names, but like the next three girls, I think, follow the same pattern. Like Rebecca, who's the one we'll read next, who is a Jewish American immigrant in New York in like the 19 teens. She has the same books, like same pattern, but then they start to deviate. So this is kind of nice because I like the like learns a lesson pattern. So this is Julie's learns a lesson book, and the lesson we learn is about divorce is tough on children.
Groundbreaking. It's true.
It is. It's a fun look. So chapter 1, homework. We're back at Jack London Elementary, and Julie's getting a very typical 4th grade assignment, which is like, tell us about your life, and like, tell us the best thing that's ever happened to you, the worst thing that's ever happened to you, and like who your mom and dad and siblings are. So like, I think we all had assignments like this, and Julie's like excited about it but nervous because the worst thing that's ever happened to her is her family's divorce. She's like, I don't want to write about that.
It's a lot. It's a lot. She doesn't want to be judged. She doesn't want to be based on this. This is not reflective of her character.
Well, it's also like we talked about in the first book that like divorce is like more common now, but it's still not as common as it is like when we were growing up, where it's like you knew some of the kids, hello dog, where you knew some of the kids like parents in your class were just like divorced and it was a part of it. Like Julie's probably the only kid in her school whose parents are divorced. And it's not like as big of a scandal as it would have been like 10, 15 years ago, but it's still not like the norm,
Right, right. I mean, it's a heavy hitting topic, but I was reading this and I was just thinking, naturally, reading American Girl, I put myself there. I'm in that
Yeah.
classroom with Julie.
You're an American girl, yeah.
Exactly. But I was like, imagine, you have to present these things, and then, Julie drops divorce. Like, that's like earth shattering for a child, any child, but of that age and in the classroom, like you were saying, it's not that prevalent. But imagine
Well,
you
it
have
is
to
just.
follow.
Oh, you do the report after Julie?
Exactly. Exactly. And you're like, oh, the worst part of my life was like when I dropped my ice cream at the park.
Well, that's exactly what I was about to say, is that like it kind of does suck because they are 9, and so like hopefully, thankfully, most of these kids like worst thing is going to be like, oh, when like we missed Christmas with my grandparents because it snowed too much, like.
Right.
I remember one time when I was nannying a 4-year-old, and I usually brought apples to her swim practice, and we didn't have any apples left that day. And so when she finished swimming, she came up to me and was like, "Apple?" And I was like, "I don't have any." And she like sobbed like in my arms for like an hour, and I was like, "This is probably the worst thing that's ever happened to her." Like, and I was like,
Wow.
"Buckle up."
Exactly. Get ready, girlie.
But I remember being like, "Yeah, she's 4. This is probably like the worst
Worst
thing that's
day.
ever gone on." but
That's true.
but Julia, like all good Americans, decides to like suppress her trauma for the moment.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, well, maybe if I just like lying is free. Maybe if I just lie, then no one will know that I'm dealing with this absolute trauma of divorce between my parents.
Who's cross-checking? Really.
Yeah, who fake news isn't even invented yet.
Julie's a girl ahead of her time.
She is. So Julie's spending the weekend at her dad's house, and she's thinking about the best and worst things about visiting him. So she's like really like a psychiatrist field day. She's saying the best things are that she has her rabbit Nutmeg at her dad's house. She gets to hang out with her friend Ivy, and she gets to shoot hoops with dad.
Nothing better. We love, girl does it all.
And the worst things are that her room is barren because they took everything from it to her mom's house. Her sister doesn't come with her, which is a whole plot that keeps going on, which I want to touch on. And then her mom's not there. So 2 things you should know up front, since you didn't read the first book, was this house, and they mentioned it used to be her only house. And then her mom, her sister, and her moved out. And so, but it seems kind of like, to me, it seems weird that the mom, the daughter, and the sister moved out, and dad has this big empty house to himself when he's a pilot and isn't home half the time.
I feel like dad could have downsized,
Yeah, that's what I feel like. And I feel like it's like one of those things that's like, keep like the kids in like the most solid place. So like Julie and Tracy could have stayed in their school district in the house they grew up in with their rabbit, but now they're living in like an apartment. It struck me as odd.
Well, mom has to sell her wares,
At Glad Rags.
At Glad Rags. Exactly.
She's got her kitschy little store.
She just needs to be able to walk down that flight of stairs and do her thing.
Which I kind of get, but there seems to be a lot of like trauma surrounding leaving the family home that I feel like could have been resolved with a different living situation.
A little switcheroo. No, I
don't
agree.
know.
That could be in like a 1-bedroom, 2-bedroom.
Yeah, and then like the older sister doesn't come over. And they like allude to that here for dad.
I feel so bad for dad because I feel like they could hold Tracy a little bit more accountable. Like, no, girl, you got to go to your dad's house at least once in a while.
But what if Tracy knows something about the divorce that we don't?
Classic big sister knowledge.
I know, but it is just, I also will say I do appreciate that, and I said this last time too, but I do appreciate that they have Tracy kind of being mad at dad for some inexplicable reason, because I think it's more authentic to the complicated like relationship of divorce, that like,
oh yeah,
she's mad for some reason about this in a way that's making it more difficult, that both Julie and Tracy aren't like, yeah, this is fine, we're just splitting our time up, that Tracy has like a bigger issue with it. Like,
right.
I do appreciate that they didn't just like whitewash that, like, oh, now both girls are just happy to go over to dad's and mom's whenever,
Exactly. It deepens that plot a little bit more in a very realistic way. And again, classic big sister. She's 15. She's older. She's wiser. What does she know?
She's a hair freak. She loves to do her hair. Freak.
Imagine putting the soda cans in your hair. Do you sleep on that?
Paige, I feel like you would do that.
I would, but then I would look like little orphan Annie the next day. Something would go awry.
I know, but I feel like you're my friend who's always like, I found out about this thing I should be doing to my hair, and like you're doing it like expertly the first time you try it, but like it's just like oh wait, this is confusing.
I just want to know how you keep them in there. You can't stick a bobby pin through that.
Guys,
I would
one time
figure it
in
out.
college, Paige made a perfect like a bouffant like beehive hair for a costume she was doing. It was like I don't even know how you did that.
I don't know, because I think I've always like famously had a bob too. So God knows what I was
Yeah.
working with.
What hair would you? Yeah, what hair? But no, that was soft junior year, so you had longer hair then.
Okay, all right. More room for
Yeah,
bouffant. We'll make it work. I
more
love a
more.
theme.
So we're still at dad's, and Julie tells dad about her assignment and how she has to like log all this information about her family. And he's like, I've got the perfect thing for that. And he runs out of the room and comes back with a shiny little tape recorder from Japan because he's
Ooh.
flown there. And he's like, why don't you use this little sucker on your project? And she's like, I love it.
It's perfect. What timing, Dad? What timing?
I know, how coincidence that he got his daughter a tape recorder, you know.
Some things are meant to be. But I love how her first thing with the tape recorder is she's like, can I record myself singing? Because have we not
Who
all
hasn't?
been there? Right, right. Like this, oh, the traumatizing moment if you're like, maybe I actually am a star in the making, and you record yourself singing and then you play it back and you're like, oh my God. And you burn the tape
Well,
in
you
hell.
Well, it's like when you're singing in the car and you're singing along with like vocals and you're like, "Oh, like I actually think I might sound good." Like, do I like when I'm just unencumbered, am I a great singer? And then you like sing into your like iPhone memos. It's like so like reedy and like slight.
Off tune, nothing's enunciated. It hurts.
But
Or
it is like why do we like especially as like kids, why is it like I gotta sing into this? Like I gotta hear myself sing.
I must. I must.
I must sing.
Or is it us? Is it our like theater kid backgrounds that we're like, let's go for it?
It's hard to say because all my friends did it, but it's my friends. I don't know if cooler kids weren't doing it. You
You
know?
know what? Yeah, I'll just tell myself everybody did it. It's okay. We've all been
My
through that.
yeah. Guys, if you sang into tape recorders and wanted to see how you sounded, sound off in the comments and let us know. And what
How'd it
was your
go for
song of
you?
choice? Was it part of your world? Because it probably was.
Most likely.
So Julie uses a tape recorder to record her project, and so she records dad telling a story about how like when he was growing up in Minnesota, they all shared a bike like on the street because everyone was too poor, so they like basically had like a communal bike, and how he broke his like foot on the bike and had to wear like crutches, and how the bone in his foot eventually grew back stronger than ever.
And he makes Julie, he's like, I've got this little bump on it, and makes Julie feel this little bump. And
I wouldn't
so
feel my dad's foot, I don't think.
here's the thing. Here's where I did my deep dive because I'm like, I thought like usually once you break something, it's not quite right again.
Mm-hmm.
And so I was like, okay, Dr. Google, tell me what's going on here. And it's really just a big old callus that forms on top of the bone and like
Oh,
temporarily provides a little extra structure. So dad's just showing off his big callus right now.
really?
Yeah. So,
Yeah,
kick
because I
back.
thought I heard you were more likely to break the bone again if you'd broken it before.
Right? So I don't know what dad's on about, but you know what? That's going to come back around.
Have you ever broken a bone?
I've never, well, much like Julie, I sprained my thumb once and I had one of those fun
Spoiler.
little, oh, sorry. Crazy. Uh-oh, cut that out.
But yeah, you sprained your thumb.
I sprained my thumb and I had one of those little thumb casts, but knock on wood, I've never actually broken a bone.
No.
What about you?
I much like dad, I broke a foot bone.
Ooh.
Doing karate as a 5th grader.
Did you have to break the wood? Is that like what you did?
Yes, that's how I broke it.
Get out.
I was like getting my next belt and I had to do like a like push kick into the board and I like hit it wrong on the side of my foot and I like cracked it and then but I didn't break the board and I didn't feel it yet and so then I actually broke the board and I think I broke my foot when I did that. And then I like it was just like the side of my foot. It was like a hairline fracture. But then apparently as a child I complained a lot about things and so my mom didn't believe me when I said that I had hurt my foot. And so for like a week I was just like walking around on it. And then finally, like one of our friends' dads was a podiatrist, and she was like, "Fine, like we'll have him look at it to prove you wrong." And he was like, "Oh my, looks broken." And my mom was like, "Oh God." She's like, "What did I do?" She felt
Man.
really bad. And in her defense, I did complain much about little things.
Honestly, me too. Me too. I think I very much was like a child hypochondriac, but that's
But
neither
I
here
had to
nor
wear
there.
this like big plastic boot, and I had to wear it for like 2 months because I wasn't wearing it properly because I was like running around at recess in it because I was finally popular because in kickball I had like a hammer to kick with basically because I would just like swing and kick. And I was like running to bases, and so I kept it on longer than I needed to. And then when I got it off, I was like gimpy because I was like so used to
Ooh.
swinging my foot to walk. And my mom was like, "We're gonna need to take you to like learn how to walk like a normal person again."
Oh my God. I'm learning so much about it. I didn't even know you did karate, let alone this whole saga.
Really? You didn't know that?
Yeah, no. You
I'm
never showed me
surprised.
your
I feel like
moves.
I'll show
Wow.
you in Arkansas.
Let's
I'll show
tussle.
you at the springs. So we get this like allegorical foreshadowing broken foot story. And then Julie goes back to mom's house and it's dinner time. And so it's the classic sister debate of setting the table. But because they've been separated for the weekend, both Julie and Tracy are saying it's not their turn to set the table because Julie's been setting it all weekend at dad's, but Tracy's been setting it all weekend at mom's. And so it's not as fair. And this is part of the problems with divorce is setting tables.
Famously. But good old mom, she just splits it up and problem solved.
And they eat a cherry pie.
A fancy cherry pie, fancy
Yeah, there's a
crust and
lot of talk
vanilla
about a
ice.
cherry pie for some reason.
It's big. It's big in the Albright family.
It has Latisse on it, right? Like,
Yeah,
was
yeah,
that
yeah.
how it is?
The fancy crust, yep.
With the like
Lattice, right? Yeah.
lattice, yeah, where it's I can't do that. I can't cook. It's not for me.
It's all right. It's all right. You could
It's okay.
karate though.
I can karate, but chapter 2, meet Charlotte. So mom tells her story to Julie, much like dad did. Turns out mom grew up rich because she talks about her apple orchard in like Santa Monica and her first horse. I'm like, okay, different different
Different
life
upbringing.
than dad and his shared bike in like Minnesota.
And
But
she's like, yeah, this is the horse I got for my birthday, but I couldn't ride him right away.
yeah, the horse got stung by a bee and like tried to like buck her, right? Like she got like spooked.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. But here's also this is my biggest takeaway right now. If we go back to our first book, the last book with Julie, doesn't mom talk about how she lived in France for a year? Like the dad moved the family to France. So I need to know what was going on with Julie's mom's family that dad was some sort of rancher on an apple farm who also has business
Mm-hmm.
in France.
That's interesting. You're right.
Right? Yeah.
This is kind of this is kind of sprawling out into what is the lore behind Julie's mom's life and why is she owning like a secondhand like tchotchke shop now?
I need a full spin-off about just Julie's mom.
This is so interesting. You're right. Oh, actually, this is like such an unrelated note, but that's how the show goes. Did you see they're making an adult Samantha book?
Cannot wait. But
Yeah.
I'm nervous though.
Yeah, it's gonna be bad. Don't worry.
Yeah.
Rest assured, it's not gonna be good.
I will read every single page. I won't enjoy it, but again,
Do
committed.
you think it's gonna be rated PG-13 or not?
Full on smut.
Samantha's. You should have. I don't know if you listened to the episode my Celia in Heaven, and I did with Josefina. Did you hear any of those?
No, tell me.
Okay, there's a whole crazy style plot with like Josefina's dad and her aunt. And like it's so delicious. You gotta go back. Like read the
okay.
books. Don't listen to our episodes, read the books. They're like crazy.
All right.
It's like underneath the surface of the whole entire Josefina books is this like love story emerging between like her dad and her aunt. It's like
Okay.
we were into it. But yeah, so mom was rich as a kid, grew up, and both mom and dad tell her stories of injury, which again, foreshadowing. Because she just says, what was growing up for you like as a kid? And they're like, one time I got seriously injured.
That's what I was thinking. Like, what story are you picking? Well, I guess they had to tell the story about when they were Julie's age. I guess that's the year to break a bone or to get hurt or something.
I guess I would tell the story I just told because I was Julie's age.
I probably was about Julie's age when I broke my thumb, so I guess.
But it's like probably one of the things that more sticks with you significantly, you know?
Yeah,
Like your
yeah.
day to day is like, yeah, I did that, I did this, but this one time, this happened to me, you know?
Crazy.
So Tracy comes home carrying a spider plant that she has named Charlotte because she's funny. And it's like Charlotte's Web, you know,
Love.
topical reference, bada bing. And she's, this part's crazy actually because I thought this was going to become bigger, but it is just kind of like an offshoot, like C plot where Tracy's being very teen coded and she's like, no one bother me. I'm going into the room. So she like takes the phone cord and like runs into the other room and like closes the door. And Julie's like, well, I want to know what she's talking about. So Julie goes into the other room because if you guys remember, like landlines used to be connected, which I did want to say as an aside is like kind of crazy to think about that you could just like pick up the phone and listen to someone in your house's conversation.
Did you
Did you
ever?
ever do that?
I never like picked up. Julie was a little too ballsy for me. I wouldn't have picked
Mm-hmm.
up and like listened in. But whenever somebody called and it was like from my mom or somebody and it sounded interesting, I would be a little bit too slow to hang up. So I would
Yeah.
listen as I was going back to the receiver.
I
What
would
about you?
sometimes listen in. We had like
Ooh.
we had a phone in our basement for like no reason. Like, why do you need to calls from the basement? It was like I think my grandma had given us like one of her old phones and we like didn't need it, like but we had it. And so like we had one in like the main room and we had one like um yeah, I mean, which is like it was like a useless phone, but it was connected. And so sometimes if I heard my mom pick it up from something that sounded interesting, I would like, and it was like an older one, so it didn't have like a real big click when you opened it. It was like
Oh.
that one that's like sitting on the bed like that, you know?
Yep. Yep.
And so I just would like pick it up and I'd like, and you have to hide it, shove it away from your, so you can't hear breathing, you know?
Exact. Oh, you know they definitely heard us. No doubt
I know,
about
but
it.
it was never anything interesting to be fair.
No.
Like I wasn't getting the tea. Um, but I used to do it. But Julie does it even more crazy style and she sets up her recorder and leaves the phone so that she's literally like recording illegally her sister's conversation.
Seems like a lot of extra steps, but our
I
girl
know, it's just that
Julie,
little rascal little sister thing, you know?
of
Um,
course.
and so then she listens in to what she recorded and basically she finds out Tracy like held hands with a boy at Jaws and that
Scandal.
she chews her gum too loud. And she's like, ha ha ha, I have all this insider information. I
I've
love it.
got the
Like,
tea.
she's got the tea. And so then later that night, when Julie, Mom, and Tracy are making sea urchin ornaments, which I didn't really understand. Did you understand what they were doing?
No, I think they were literally. I think they truly were gluing sea urchins onto little lights. It
Lights.
sounded like. Were they a nightlight? Yeah.
I
So,
think it's like a string light, like fairy lights.
oh, okay, that makes more
That's what
sense.
I thought it was, but
You know what?
because they
That
said it
is
was like Christmas, so
true. True. I don't know. I was also surprised at like how much mom DIYs. Like, did they just get the sea urchin light kit, or is mom a crafter?
it looks like people have lights of them, but it doesn't look like I don't know. Mom is kind of I don't really know what mom's shop is.
I think I would have a lot of sensory overwhelming in mom's shop. It would be too much for me.
Well, because some stuff, like she to go back to Tracy also gets like a hippo planter from the shop for her little plant. So some of the stuff mom is getting is like from vendors and then mom is making some of the stuff as well. But like if mom is having two teenage girls make stuff, it can't be like that good quality. And like if I went into a shop and it was just like hastily glued sea urchins on lights, I like wouldn't be like, give me that.
I need this right now. Oh, no pictures of the sea urchin lamps.
I know, that's why I was looking up nothing.
Oh,
It
wait.
wasn't a real thing. Mm-hmm.
I stand corrected.
Yeah.
Page 29. It does. It's like little jellyfish top over like some sort of nightlight plugger inner, like a little
So is it
encapsulated.
Christmas lights or like a individual light?
It looks like an individual.
Okay.
Right. Now we know.
All right. Guys, sea urchin lights. We should all have one. So while they're doing this though, Julie is like alluding to the fact that she has listened hard into her sister's conversation by being like, oh, you like Jaws? Like, but did you like eat anything? Like, did you have any gum? Then maybe like, did you chew it loudly? And she's like, what the hell? Did you like listen in on my conversation? And Julie's like saying, no, I'm just like guessing. And then Tracy's like, it's illegal to listen in on people's conversations. And she goes real topical and calls her Little Miss Watergate.
Tracy's just like a woman of the world. She knows what's up. She's tapped in politically.
Well, in the first book, she called the basketball coach a male chauvinist pig. And I was like, all right, like little feminist girl.
We love her. Classic big sister.
And then Julie learns a valuable lesson via the trials of Richard Nixon. And her mom is like, hey, let's maybe not record people without their permission in this house, just as like a note. And so I thought this was going to be something that would last longer than the same chapter. But apparently this is just a one and done.
That's
Never
sad.
brought up again. You
No,
know?
really. Well, we met Charlotte.
We did meet Charlotte. Yeah, Charlotte was the most important part of this chapter. Because the next chapter, this little Piggy, the Jack London Jaguars, Julie's basketball team, are preparing for their big game against the Wildcats. And we get another kind of like reference here with like, they're like, oh yeah, they've got a kid who's the next Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. And I'm like, hey, he played basketball in the 70s.
Yeah, he's the 6 foot tall 5th grader. So
yeah, that's a lot.
Imagine. I'm sure there is. I never knew a 6 foot tall 5th grader.
There was a guy at my elementary school who was so tall, but I was so short that it's hard to. He was probably like 5'8" though. Like
that's decent.
He was huge. Like he was like a giant man, and he was a gentle giant though. So, but yeah, so they're all talking about that, and they're talking about their gameplay, and everyone's like, well, we've got Cool Hands Albright on our team. And Julie finds out she has a nickname with the boys, and she's like...
Would have gone right to my head if I was her age.
Oh, yeah.
Honestly, even now. So if I found out I had a cool nickname like that, based on my skills, ego trip.
Do you not have a cool nickname for your derby days?
I mean, derby? I do. It's a self-given one. It's not even... based on no skill alone.
Well, what if your friends have you have a nickname for you that you don't know about?
Dude, top of the world.
Would you be flattered?
I'd be so flattered. I'd have a new pep in my step, a new swag, if you will.
A new jump in your skates?
It's precisely. Precisely.
Guys, Paige is a roller derby star. And would you like to share your name with the crowd?
Yeah, you could find me at Bruisin B. Anthony. Bruisey for short.
Did you come up with that on your own, or was like, how were you inspired? Like,
well, when one picks one's own name, you really have to look inward. And I was like, wow, I'm really a tried and true feminist. I love suffragettes. Let's riff on this. But it has to be rough and tumble. So I'm like, snoozing? How about bruising? And
I love it.
There we are.
And here we are with Bruisin' B. Anthony today.
Her legacy lives on.
Her legacy lives on. And Julie's getting ready for this big game. It's like the biggest game of season. So she's at home and she's practicing and she's shooting hoops and dribbling outside. And Tracy comes out and is like, hey girl, like, what are you doing? Like, can I play with you? And Julie, who is every little sister ever, is immediately suspicious why her big sister, who is so rude to her, is all of a sudden so into it. And she's like, what's the catch here? This was also the most confusing conversation I've ever read, where it's like, she's like, what if you wanted to babysit? Because you want to babysit. And she's like, well, I'm not old enough to babysit. She goes, yeah, but this is just like a trial run of babysitting. What if you could just like trial it out and it'd be like free the first time? And she's like, but who am I babysitting for? She's like, well, what if it wasn't even like a baby? What if it was just like something that you were watching for free? And she's like, well, what if I... And basically you find out that... And then the activity itself is confusing. Tracy is going to be gone for the weekend because she and her friends want to see how many people they can stuff into a Volkswagen punch buggy for the world record. So she can't be at home all weekend. So she needs Julie to like water and monitor the plant.
So I have some points about this.
Yeah, go for it.
So first of all, I did have to look up. I'm like, where'd you get this from, American Girl? Because I know you do your research. So apparently, this Volkswagen stuffing was popular in the 50s and 60s. It's just a thing that kids would do. And apparently, world record attempts were between 31 and 57 people. So...
What size were these people?
They were smaller back then.
I don't think I could fit more than 8 people in my like Jetta, which
But
is also a
apparently,
Volkswagen.
right, they were putting them like in the trunk, in the front, like truly every
Mm.
crack and crevice. But what I need to know is like, how many friends does Tracy have at this new school? Because I think
I know
Tracy's
she's
really
hitting it
popular.
off.
Yeah. Um, but then back to Charlotte, the plant. The way Tracy's like, listen, I cannot leave her alone for this weekend. I need you to watch her. Like, promise me you'll watch her. How much work is a spider plant?
Okay, so I was gonna ask, are you a plant person?
Oh, I am not. I kill
Okay, I
everything.
thought you might be, but I kill everything. And I know that like I often kill things because I paid too much attention to them and I like overwater them. So I can't imagine 2 days of us. I feel like if she watered the spider plant before she left and then came back like Friday night or something, and then Sunday morning when she came back, it would be fine.
I
It
think
feels like she's
so.
overdone it, but that's part of learning, I guess. This may
I
have been
guess
Tracy's
so.
lesson. Tracy learns a lesson.
Tracy does learn a lesson, but yeah, she's like real worried. She's like, check in on her. Like, where is this plant gonna go?
I know, down out the window apparently because
Apparently.
Julie agrees to watch the plant for $1, and Julie's BFF Ivy is coming over for a sleepover over the weekend. And one thing that I'm starting to notice with the Julie and Ivy dynamic, which was in the first book too, is they do whatever Julie wants to do. Like she's like, "What if we shoot? What if we shoot some hoops?" And Ivy's like, "Sure,
All
let's do
right.
that." They do have some fun with the tape recorder singing into it, and like recording sound effects. Which I did find like something we would do.
Oh, absolutely. We would have spent hours like clip clopping around the house.
Well, they like are like, let's make it sound like you fell down the toilet, like flush it. And they're like, no.
Oh.
And I'm like, the fun of
The,
youth.
the way we would have been so
Yeah,
invested. I want to know how many blank tapes Julie has also because she's just going to
that's what I
town.
was wondering. She's really like rolling through these, and I feel like Dad probably. I would be shocked if Dad remembered to buy more than like the one that the cassette tape came with.
Right?
So who knows? But they did
Question.
that for a little bit. Now they're playing basketball, and Julie like well, they sing to the plant, which I did think was funny. They were like, well, we read somewhere that if you sing to plants, it's all about the singing with these girls constantly singing.
Love a musical number.
Yeah. So they sing to the plant for a little bit and then they go outside. They're going to go outside to play. And Julie throws the basketball to Ivy and Ivy misses and it hits the spider plant and falls out the window and like crashes down like 2 stories. And they're like, oh no, do you think we can save this plant? I was like, probably not. I don't think that's good for them. So they take this like ragged plant to Chinatown to try and find a suitable vessel for it that looks like the hippo. Because Ivy says she thinks she's seen something similar in the 5 and 10 shops, which I think are like dollar stores, I'm guessing.
I guess so.
Um, and so they talk to a woman who's like, look at these girls carrying this dead plant. And she's like, I can make a sale off this. So she sells them a pig because they're like, it's kind of similar to a hippo in like the most abstract way. So they sell her a pig, and Glenda, the store owner, puts it in and clips off some of the dead bits, which is all of it. And they're like, this looks good, right? No one will notice.
Right?
And so they take it back home. And they're like, I wonder if Tracy notices. And Tracy comes home and it's like, hey, why is the plant like brown and 10 times smaller than when I left it? And she was like, oh, I don't know. It's just weird. I'm like, Tracy 100% knows that something went wrong with this. And it's just like not choosing violence that time.
Tracy had a good relaxing weekend with friends. She's not ready for this right
Stuffing
now.
herself into a VW bug.
High on life.
Yeah, it's fine. She can't be bothered. So that moves on to chapter 4, the big game. Big game is coming. Julie's nervous. She's prepping. Everyone's talking about it. Everyone's like, Dad's going to be there. Dad is so excited to watch you play in this game, which let me know that Dad wasn't going to be there.
Mhm.
Dad also, Paige, missed Julie's career day.
Oh yeah. It's
So
classic dad. Pilot emergencies, you know?
I know. It's a little bit like we were saying last episode. We were like, is it really that he's being pulled away or is he just like volunteering? You know?
Right. Let me get out of this career day. I have to go
It's like,
fly to
oh, you
Chicago.
need someone? I can do it. oh,
Got you.
sorry, Julie, I had to go. So dad, and then mom is like, I wish I could come to the big game, but like I have to work. So like, but don't worry, dad will be there. He's not. And then Tracy is like, I'll come after my like tennis practice, like if that ends early. So then we get to the big game and they're playing. Julie's like doing pretty well, but there's this like big guy named Dunk who keeps like hassling her, who's like, go be a cheerleader. And he keeps like fouling her and like they're not getting called, but everyone's like, what the heck is happening? And it's kind of aggressive and he's being mean because he's a boy.
He's playing dirty. He's playing dirty. And like, Julie's looking at the ref, but the ref is not having it. And I think the ref is sexist.
Well, that's what we dealt with in the first book, was that no one wanted Julie to play on the boys' team. So
yeah.
So it's tough. But Julie keeps playing until Dunk gets too rough and like shoves her down and she falls and braces herself on her finger and breaks her finger. And there's a little like crazy image of like tiny Julie like in the fetal position on the ground that I was like, wow.
She was down bad.
She was down bad. And so then everyone's like, all right, stop the game. Someone needs to take this girl to the hospital, like probably her parents, but there's nary a parent of Julie's at this game. It's only Tracy. And Julie's friend TJ's mom ends up taking her to the hospital with Tracy. And I have to say, as a middle child, I found this devastatingly relatable. I want to be clear, I have very good parents, but there were many times when I was like injured. I was never like hospital injured at like a sporting event, but where something like bad would happen at school and my parents would be like otherwise occupied by their jobs or other children, and I'd have to like have someone's like mom take me somewhere. and you're just like, I was like, I don't feel it in this profound loneliness, but I did feel bad for myself a lot.
Yeah. No, see, here I'm relating very much to Tracy. So Tracy's left to basically keep calling the parents while they're at the hospital. And she can't get through. And she's freaking out. And I'm like, yeah, parentified oldest sibling. Like, she's left to clean up the mess, to take care of her little sister. Meanwhile, she's but a child herself. Things are stressful for Tracy.
What's the age difference between you and your little sister?
7 years.
So it's almost the same. I think it's 6 years for Tracy and Julie.
Wow.
So
I get it.
Get it.
I get
You're
it.
Tracy.
Tracy's going to have a lot of anxiety down the line.
That older sister burden. I have an older sister myself, but it's for a brother, so it's like different, I think. But yeah, so she, like I said, this kind of rang true to my childhood in a way where it was just like, when you feel bad for yourself because you're hurt, but then you also feel bad because you just like went your like parent around. And so I felt bad for little Julie here because she's like scared and upset and like, but she's trying to hold it together because she doesn't want to be like a weenie in front of someone else's like parent. And it's just not what she wants. And so she's just a little kid, I said, and that made me sad. And she has these moments, which I think are nice to include in the book, where she like really like reflects on how the divorce is like negatively affecting her. And it's like things like this where it's like, well, if my parents weren't divorced, we'd be able to find one of them, but they're both separate now. And so they're both doing separate things. So like we can't figure out how to get into contact with them. And I think that's like fair, because I do think when you're little, the concept of like the divorce is probably more abstract, but like when it affects you directly and things like this, or like the weekend stuff, is when like kids kind of register what it is and like how it's hard for them, you know?
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. I could imagine. It's got to be so tough. And I feel like this is the moment where all of that stress has kind of culminated. You know, this is the true moment. This is the stress of the big game. It's the stress of being alone. It's the stress of the divorce. There's a lot on Julie right now.
And Tracy. Finally, mom and dad do show up and they come to the hospital, and Tracy kind of reams them a little bit and is like, I've been calling both of you for hours. Like, where have you been? And dad says his flight from Chicago was delayed because of fog. And mom was just like in the weird. Honestly, I do blame mom a little bit more for this one. Like,
I think mom could have moved some things around.
Well, so mom, I don't know. I feel like both Julie's parents are kind of crappy, personally, like in their own special way. Like, we talked about this in the last book, and we kind of felt like Tracy's mom, and I think to a certain extent her dad, it feels like they are two people who maybe had children because it was what they were supposed to do at the time.
Ooh.
but maybe like if they were 21st century individuals would not have had children, you know?
Yeah. Do you think they're very young? I get the impression that their parents are very young and they're going through this divorce and they're kind of like finding themselves as individuals now.
I bet mom is like 40. I bet she had Tracy when she was like 25 or something, you know?
Mm, yeah. Maybe I would say even younger.
Do you think so?
It's the 70s, baby.
You're right. But yeah, I feel like they're just kind of like, I don't know. I feel like, and maybe this is from the kind of late millennial perspective of having like not helicopter parents, but like parents who knew to like be around for things. Like, I feel like if I was at any sporting event, like we have the emergency contact thing for a reason. This is like the reason, you know? Like,
Right.
so that like, oh, my kid might need me, so I should be near a phone. I should be near a phone at least to hear it ringing in case something goes wrong, you know? Like,
Yeah.
it's just
It's a different
that. But
time. It's a different time, real latchkey kids.
yeah, and so she like Tracy really gives it to them and they apologize and then but then there's this like moment where dad's like, as soon as I found out, I went and go picked up your mom and we came over here immediately. And Julie's like, you guys came over together? And
Ah.
he's like, yeah, we drove together. And Julie's like,
Oh.
classic like divorce kid, like, are they can we remerge this family?
Julie does a
Um
parent trap?
she's trying to parent trap her parents. And so then as like dad's like, we should all do something. We've had a rough day. Let's all go get pizza. And Tracy's like, well, let's go get pizza on the north end where the better pizza is, which is farther away. But dad's like, deal, let's do it. And Julie's like, I should break my finger every day.
Oh, Julie, you jokester.
It's like, maybe not. Then we get chapter 5, the best thing ever. So Julia's spending Friday home from school because she's in a splint and she's playing Kerplunk with mom, which is like, I think it's the game where you like, it's just a chance game, isn't it? It's not like any like
Yeah.
skill
No, it's
because you
just the
just like
marbles.
move. Okay, yeah. So they're playing Kerplunk and mom is like, I gotta go. This is boring.
Literally right as they're about to kerplunk too. That was a tough one.
Well, it's just like I said, it just kind of feels like, I don't know. Like I said, my own mom felt incredibly guilty when she found out that I had a broken foot. She got me a cookie.
Ooh.
And it just feels like if my daughter, my hypothetical daughter, had broken her finger and I had like missed the 90 calls from my other daughter saying that they were in the emergency room, I would spend one day with that kid.
At least finish the game of kerplunk. She's literally like, oh, I bet your next move you're gonna kerplunk. And then mom's just like, okay, I gotta go, bye.
She's like, do you mind if I like peace out and go work on my shop a little bit? Like, this is boring.
My passion is with my shop.
She's like, I just gotta get back to Glad Rags. It's where I belong. And so Julie's like, lets her, and they talk about how Julie hasn't written her assignment yet, which is due Monday. And her mom's like, well, maybe I can talk to your teacher about like excusing you. And Julie's like, well, what if I just did an oral report on my tape recorder? Because she loves that thing. You know, she's gonna break that in like 2 days from overuse. Like,
Oh, absolutely. Knock it out a window.
much like Charlotte.
Poor Charlotte.
So she's like, all right, I'm gonna record my whole thing. So Julie goes and she records all her segments. And she's like, this is actually bonus for me because since I broke my finger, now I can say the worst thing that's ever happened to me is that my finger broke. So she feels satisfied with her decision to lie. And Tracy comes home from school and Julie's like, how was school today? And she's like, look at you, like my mom asking me how my school day was. She's like, well, I failed my plant project because the plant was dead. And Julie's like, how did that happen? She goes, you tell me. So we find out that Tracy did know all along that Julie did something wrong with the plant. And she also absolutely noticed that the container changed from a hippo to a pig. But she was like, it just wasn't worth it for me to rag on you about that. Like, and Julie's like, good, because I was going to tell you, but you were so mean to dad that it was terrifying to me to think to confront you in that moment. And Tracy's like, yeah, well, you know what? I have a lot of complicated feelings about our father because he divorced our mom and he divorced us. And Julie kind of wisely is like, well, didn't mom also participate in the divorce? And Tracy's brain like short circuits and she's like, I'm not ready to talk about that part yet.
Right now, all dad's fault.
Yeah, so Tracy has not changed her opinion on dad right now, and she's continuing to blame dad. But the sisters decide that they will always have each other and they need to stick together. So that was very sweet
Nice sister
and
moment.
tough. Pretty cool, big sister. And then we get to school Monday. And much like any kid who's ever been injured, Julia's like the talk of the town. Everyone's like, I heard that guy beat the shit out of you. She's like, yeah. And the story just gets like crazier and crazier about how Julie got hurt in this sporting event. And yeah, she's like a little mini celeb for the day. But there's not enough time for that because they're all giving their presentations. And so everyone's going up and saying the best and worst things ever happened to them, yada, yada. And then Julie gets up and she's like, I did mine on recorder. And everyone's like,
Whoa.
bullshit. We had to write it.
Damn it, Julie.
Would you have been mad in this class?
You know what? I would have been very jealous. I'd be like, damn it, why didn't I think of that?
I didn't like when people had special privileges because I wanted special privileges.
I get it. Absolutely. I mean, I get why. She literally has a broken finger.
Well, it's like, did you ever have like kids in class who were like excused early or got like something special and you're just like, ah. Like I even was, as someone who I have asthma, I had undiagnosed asthma as a kid. But I got diagnosed with it when I was a junior in high school. And it's exercise induced, so it's not bad. But I was always even weirdly jealous of the kids who had like the crazy asthma machines, you know?
I was the kid with the crazy asthma machine.
I was like, why does Arthur get to sit there with that cool machines pumping air into his veins?
Can't relate.
I was
That
like,
was me
I
on
want
the
it.
bench.
I was like, I want it.
Oh no, I absolutely felt like hot shit. I'm like, sorry, can't run the mile. I need to breathe into this tube for a while.
It was like crazy. It was like they like, you know what machine I'm talking about, right?
Well, I think so. So the one that I had was only because of allergies. I had such bad allergies that I needed an inhaler. So I literally had this like tube chamber thing, and I would put the inhaler in one end and then kind of like bite on the other hand or other end of the chamber and like breathe it in that way. I guess that way I didn't have the coordination to actually do a full like inhaler inhale.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
Well,
I
it's
don't know if
hard.
that's it's hard. Yeah.
You have to like this. Sometimes they give you like a separate tube to go in between you and the inhaler too.
Yeah. It was a lot, but that's
Yeah.
how I got out of the mile one year.
I never did, and I was so bad at it because I had asthma and no one knew, or because I was lazy, more likely. But I had I always did like I was actually listening to someone talk about the other day how you had to like run the mile in like 20 minutes, and I like couldn't do it, and I'm like, that's kind of crazy. It's like a walking pace. Like as a brisk, like I can briskly walk a mile in 50 minutes. I was like 15 minutes. I was like, I don't know why I was having so much trouble.
It's kind of crazy now, isn't it?
I know, presidential fitness test. But yeah, Julie is like getting the special treatment in class. So she's playing her report. And then it gets to the worst thing that's ever happened to her and she stops it. And she's like, you know what? I changed my mind. She's like, can I riff for a second? Can I freestyle this thing?
Give me a beat.
And, and then so then she decides in this moment that she actually wants to be truthful and tell her classmates about the actual worst thing that's ever happened to her, which is her parents' divorce. And so she talks about how like she had to switch schools and a lot of things are different and how it's kind of sad sometimes and how her whole family had pizza together after she broke her finger and it made her really happy because like it reminded her of when they used to all be together and it made her a little bit sad too because she knows that it's not going to happen again. So I was like, oh God, if I was a teacher, I'd be like, ooh, God, this is more than I thought. She's like, I didn't think about these kids' trauma yet. But she ends it with saying that like she now sees it as like her family may be broken up into little pieces, but it's still her family. And much like how she like broke her finger and her dad broke his foot, like it might be broken, but it'll grow back stronger than ever.
Aw. With the help of a supportive callus.
Yeah, and a little splint. And so everyone claps and everyone's like, good job, Julie. And she like returns to her desk smiling and happy. The end.
Huzzah. Julie is so brave.
She is brave. And now we go peek into the past, which I'll be honest for you guys, I think for the Julie books is going to be pretty short for me personally because It's pretty much like everything we already know. It's not that interesting or new.
They even acknowledge it. I feel like they're flat out, yeah, things weren't too
they
different.
phoned it in on the Peek into the Past. They're like, you know what you did in school? Copy paste, no computers. That's it.
Times were different, or were they?
Pretty much
Like
the same. So yeah, it talks about how schools like you may like were pretty much the same style and like vibe as schools in the 2000s, except they didn't have computers were invented and things like that, but they were too big, so like you would have done things on like your like by hand more often, and like the calculator thing with like the what's it called with
abacus?
the abacus. Yes, you would have used an abacus and things like that. The only real thing that it like one, two, three things that I didn't like was it talked about segregation in the most like crazy style, like short way, where it's like we started integrating schools and people didn't like it sometimes. Anyway,
They really glossed over it.
it feels like it would have been a good topic for the Julie books to cover,
I
potentially.
That's the thing. I feel like knowing American Girl and what they've done and what they've covered, there was a lot of missed potential here. I think we could have gotten some valuable lessons, you know?
Well, especially because her best friend is a minority. It's
Right.
a different minority than like in segregation. And someone can correct me if I'm wrong, but I don't know too much about that. But like it seems like Julie and Ivy were at the same school before. So I don't think it was maybe the same level of I'm sure there was still a lot of like racism against Chinese Americans, but I don't think it was the same level of like segregation of schools. But like I mean, I've talked to my mom before about her remembering when schools were desegregated and like it being a big thing and like people being upset. And I think it'd be kind of interesting, like, even if it wasn't as big of a deal in San Francisco as maybe it was in like Boston or on like the eastern shore of Maryland. Like, I'm sure there was still like it wasn't smooth, you know? So it feels kind of like I don't know, it feels like a missed opportunity.
Definitely. Even like not within the context of Julie. Like they could have done a doll
Yeah.
to focus on this. You know, they could have Julie didn't have to live in San Francisco. You know, or what if
Yeah.
yeah. It's interesting. I would have liked to see them take that on a little bit more because kind of that's what this is all about, right? It's historical context and it's historical challenges.
Well, yeah, I mean, the whole first book was about Julie facing like prejudice against being a girl who wanted to play basketball. And I think it would have been a good parallel to have Julie meet someone who was maybe like enter and like maybe they felt like they couldn't handle it well enough. Or, like maybe they felt like they didn't have like the right author or something like that, which is fine. But it's just a kind of we when we read the Felicity books, it was a little bit we loved Felicity, which apparently is a controversial take, but it was a little bit similar where when it talked about slavery in Virginia in like the 1700s, it was like they begrudgingly were mentioning it kind of. Like they knew they
Mm,
couldn't get around it, so they would just be like, and some people did own slaves, which wasn't good. Anyway, like and you're like, well, let's talk about it a little bit because they did such a good job. Like we read Addie, and they did such a good job covering slavery and Addie, and kind of big. I mean, I don't know if you ever read the Addie books, but and Connie Britton did them, and she was like a solo author who's only written those books for American Girl, and she did amazing, even talking about like colorism and things like that, or
oh
like
wow.
the difference between like Addie being from like a former slave and then a girl at her school who like family was never slaves, you know, and
Mhm.
feeling morally superior to Addie because of that. So like they have the capacity to cover it. So it does always disappoint me a little bit when they like shy away from like covering topics in like racism, I guess, for me.
Yeah. No, absolutely. Absolutely. Like, I guess it's a lot to unpack in 100 pages, but it doesn't have to be 100 pages. You could really make it, if not the girl, a character. You know, I feel like a lot of this is
Mhm.
addressed through the best friend characters.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Well, yeah, that's
All
my
right.
main thing. And then we talk about school funding a little bit and how, like, as we now know, as we still know, America does not fund its schools very well, especially in more poor areas. And so they talk about how schools were being defunded, things like sports programs were being like cut for funding. And this is when we did like the rise in like the like charity concerts and like celebrities helping raise money with like lawn concerts to like fund our schools. And it's just that crazy thing I feel like with America where it's like which I could go into for hours, but like we're like brag about being such a rich country. And then it's like things like this, how we have like GoFundMe's for health and like charity events for schools when we could easily, like, I mean, right now we're spending like $2 billion a day on a war that no one wants to be in. And it's like, couldn't we maybe use that money for our kids?
An art program, free lunch.
It's like, we don't have the money. It's like, we do have the money, actually. You just don't want to use the money. Yeah.
Just, a little reallocation.
So good old American traditions never die,
Yep.
So final thoughts on this. I thought it was a nice story. I thought it got to, I guess for the first book, it felt like there were 3 too many plots going on in it. And this kind of felt similar too. I feel like with the Julie book so far, I'm noticing there seems to be like a red herring plot in all the books. And I felt like the recorder was the red herring plot a little bit in this, where I was like, oh, this is going to come back, and then it doesn't.
Definitely.
But I thought having her do a school project like this was a very good way to kind of deep dive greater on like what divorce is like for Julie as like a little kid and how she's coping with that. I'm still not sold on mom and dad being decent parents to navigate Julie through this divorce. And I'm still deeply curious as to what Tracy's beef with dad is. So color me intrigued, I guess.
Oh, yeah, definitely. No, I think this is great for, 9-year-old, 10-year-olds, 11-year-olds. I think it really, like what it was written for, it really addresses those things, and it's very relatable in that way. And we're giggling about all the things that we would have done just like it. So it's good.
Yeah.
Nice to see it told through such a relatable lens. But
yeah, and I think like, what do you think? Do you feel like this feels like because I was worried when I made this switch to like the newer books that it would feel completely different than the original books, like American Girl doll books, but like I do feel like the first 2 Julie books I've read so far do feel like true to form. So as a outsider, but like, how do you feel? I mean, you haven't read the other ones probably in a while, but like, did it feel American Girl-esque?
It definitely did. Like it had the formula, I think they've all had kind of a difficult relationship with their parents, or there's that parent subplot going on there. You've got like the token best friend, then you kind of have that secondary friend, the siblings
TJ.
in a challenge there. Exactly. Oh, TJ. TJ, whose worst moment ever was the time he got a bowl cut, which I love.
Relatable.
But yeah, I think it definitely follows the American Girl formula. And I probably would have clutched my pearls at the chapter that Charlotte the plant fell out the window. Oh my God, how are we going to come back from this?
The drama.
Exactly. So
well, guys,
cute. I liked it.
You liked it? Good. Okay. And guys, if you liked this episode, then share this with your friend who kills plants.
Share this with the sexist referee of your basketball game.
Share this with your sister who is still angry at your dad.
Share this with the cool lady at your local plant store.
And share this with the nurse who helped you out when your parents weren't around.
And share this with all the teenagers that could fit in a Volkswagen Bug.
Which is as many listeners as we have, guys. And because of that, I'd like to thank you, as always, for listening to American Girl Talk, for tuning in, for liking, for subscribing, for commenting. I love when you guys comment. And like I said, we're doing a little new format now, and I'm enjoying it. I'm enjoying having my American Girl Talks with new American girls and guys and gays. More of those to come. But Paige, thank you so much.
Thank you. This is a blast. Can't wait to dive into more.
I know, it'll be fun. But guys, until next time, I'll see you around. And I don't love you because I don't know you, but I appreciate you. So,
You're here.
Bye.